And St. Kate Wildcat basketball is on the air on TJSportsOnline.net. Matt Nelson with you alongside of our engineer Glenn Thompson. As tonight the Wildcats host St. Mary's and the Cardinals in St. Paul. The St. Mary University Cardinals, under their first-year head coach Brent Polari, find themselves all alone in first place, 10-1 on the season, 4-0 in the MIAC. A stiff challenge for the 7-3 Wildcats with a mark of 2-2 in the MIAC. Their last time out in the conference, they pulled off the upset over St. Thomas. Hey, tonight's broadcast is brought to you by the Wildcats, St. Catherine University Wildcats sponsors. Check them all out: Twin Cities Orthopedics, Elsmore Swim Shop, Universal Athletics, Northfield Lines, Push Pedal and Pull, Midwest Vending, Best Western in Bloomington, Cone Elevators and Escalators. Wildcat supporters also include Loeffler Business Solutions, McGo Construction, Dolan Printing, the Sodexo Group, U.S. Bank, Shapco Printing, Rachel Contracting, and the Opus Group. Let's get into it with the head coach, Sean Pinkerton. Wildcat pregame shows on the air. And on a snowy St. Paul night, Wildcat basketball is on the air. Our pregame show, as always, into the head coach's office with Sean Pinkerton. Coach, now that the holidays are wrapped up, you got your team back and you're ready to get back into the MIAC schedule. Per tradition, before we talk about St. Mary's tonight, we've got to look back. Your last conference game, a really big win, probably your biggest as head coach of the Wildcats, a win over St. Thomas at home at the Butler Center.
Yeah, kids played extremely well that night. I thought they did an excellent job of just executing the game plan, made some big shots, and gave us an opportunity to win a basketball game. They were just really efficient on the offensive end of the floor, and then on the defensive end of the floor, followed the game plan, got some stops, did a great job in loose ball situations and attacking the offensive boards to give ourselves some additional opportunities. Was just really happy with the way they played and very proud of the effort.
Doesn't hurt to knock down some threes, though, does it?
That certainly. I think we're 50% from the floor in that game, 10 for 20. Kids shot the ball really well. And I was really happy because I felt like on the offensive end of the floor, they did a nice job of being patient, attacking the basket, collapsing the defense, and creating high percentage looks from the perimeter.
You a big believer in that? I always like talking some X's and O's. You a big believer in that inside penetration, creating open looks outside? I know there's some debate between coaches working the ball inside out, outside in. Where do you stand on all that?
I really think on the offensive end of the floor, creating quality looks for your team is a lot dependent upon forcing the defense to rotate, particularly in help. At a lot of times, committing more than one defender to stopping the basketball. You got to do a good job of getting the ball into the middle, especially if you can force some collapse. Ball reversals are huge within our offense. Trying to force, anytime someone's got to adjust, rotate, it's an opportunity for a mistake. And so as you rotate the ball sideline to sideline, people are going from ball side of the floor, either on the ball defense or one pass away defense where they're in a denial or a gap. And then when the ball gets reversed sidelines, now they got to shift into a help. Well, every time they've got to shift and rotate defensively, it's an opportunity for someone to miss a rotation, make a mistake, and open up something for an open look.
St. Mary's and the Cardinals, as we catch up with head coach Sean Pinkerton, one loss on the season and a perfect mark so far in the MIAC. What do you know about them?
Really talented team, some very talented guards. Schaefer and Pethke kind of stand out to you just because they have what I think are easily two of the best point guards in the conference on the same team, which is obviously very dangerous. They're just really, really talented. Offensively, they score a lot of points. They're averaging, I think, around 73 a game, over 75 a game in conference. Really push the ball well. Pethke's so athletic and so quick. She gets the ball up the floor in a hurry. Their posts just play hard. They do a lot of screening. They rebound the ball well. Jones in particular really runs the floor well when they're transitioning to the offensive end of the floor. She runs rim to rim well and gets some early post options as far as trying to get to the front of that rim before her defender or get there and bury her defender under the front of the rim. So they're incredibly talented.
It's going to be one of those games, isn't it, where you come out, it's the middle of the week, with the way that their guards run and their posts, they're high-energy post players. You're going to need great effort and intensity from your team tonight.
Oh, yeah. It's the depth of talent that they have. you talk about those kids, and they still got kids like Meredith and Blattner, and they got a tremendous depth of talent. We're going to need great effort and great execution to have a chance to win this game.
It's 2016 now. What is the New Year's resolution for the St. Kate's Wildcats?
Oh, I think it's just building on what we've done so far this year. Improving on the defensive end of the floor, our consistency, because I think at times we look very good on the defensive end, and other times we either get tired or lazy and we let some things slip, and as a result, our performance on that end isn't nearly as good. Offensive end is just continuing to execute at a high level and be patient.
Coach, good to see you again. Best of luck tonight with St. Mary's.
Thank you very much.
All right, big thanks to Coach Pinkerton. Let's send it back downstairs. Court level national anthem as we honor America. And with that, we welcome you back upstairs here at the Butler Center in St. Paul. Matt Nelson alongside of engineer Glenn Thompson. Let's take a look at this matchup. St. Kate's, St. Catherine University, and the Wildcats 7-3 on the season, 2-2 so far in the MIAC, hosting St. Mary's and the Cardinals under the direction of their first season head coach Brent Polari. And this has been a surprise team. They've got a lot of depth, but boy, they've gotten off to a great start. 10-1 on the season, 4-0 in the MIAC. The Wildcats as well, you could chalk them up as a pleasant surprise up until this point with their 7-3 record, 2-2 in the conference. And what a huge upset, maybe the biggest in Sean Pinkerton's tenure at St. Kate's. That upset victory last time out in the conference against St. Thomas. It was here at the Butler Center, and the final was 67-63. I know for a lot of the players, there were some personalities at work. They were taking that one personal. It was a big one for the Wildcats, and they were able to eke out the 4-point victory. Let's take a look at the starters tonight for both of these teams as the Wildcats host the Cardinals. For St. Mary's, Emma Schaefer's in the backcourt, 5'6" junior out of Roseville, Minnesota, is averaging just under 9 points per game. Joining her in the backcourt, another good guard, Bridget Pefke, 5'5" senior out of New London, Wisconsin, 7.5 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per contest as well. 3 guards in the starting lineup for Coach Polari. Michaela Meredith, 5'9" senior guard out of Bloomington, 14.5 points per game. Brandy Blattner, front court player, freshman, Iota, Minnesota, 5'10", just over 14 points per contest, and her 9 rebounds are second best in the MIAC. Rounding out the starting 5 for the Cardinals is Sam Jones, a forward, 6'1" junior out of White Bear Lake, Minnesota. For the Wildcats, it's Shauna Horsch in the front court alliance alongside of Mari Lee. The backcourt combination, Meg and Audra Clark. And rounding it out for the Wildcats is Kennedy Jennings. She takes the tip as well. Boy, Shauna Horsch having a good season, 11.2 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per contest. Now, notably absent from that starting line, of course, typically she comes off of the bench, but the Wildcats' undoubtedly most talented player and statistical leader, Lachey Holt, is inactive tonight, 14.5 points per game along with 9 rebounds, best in the MIAC. It's Jennings and Jones ready to tip this thing off On a snowy St. Paul Wednesday night, we are ready for MIAC basketball in 2016, and the Cardinals win the tip with Bridget Pethke. She'll bring it alongside into the front court and set up the offense. Comes around the screen to her left side. Now played on a switch by Lee. Interior pass got picked off and stolen away. It is Meg Clark coming up with it on the steal. She'll defer to her twin sister Audra. Now back for Meg, right side. Guarded by Pethke. Jennings, who's hobbled a bit by an ankle injury, defers for Horsch. Back for Jennings. Free throw line. Dribble drive, and she traveled. Both teams turn it over on their first possession, and we're underway in the first quarter in St. Paul. Now, if you want to reach out to the booth, the email address is wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. Wildcatsbooth@gmail.com if you want to let us know where it is you're listening from and who you're rooting for tonight as you watch along on tjsportsonline.net. Cardinals with the rock. Schaefer surveys the defense. Now back up top for Pethke. Crossover dribble on Horsch. Kicks into the corner. Three launched by Blattner. Air ball over the goal and rebounded on the weekend by Kennedy Jennings. So Jennings comes up with a rebound. Still scoreless, and we're 1 minute and 4 seconds into the ball game in 2016. Lee has it. Not much dribbling. Now it's Clark again, guarded by Pethke. Audra Clark drives with the left hand. She'll put it up high off of the window. Her shot goes long, and rebound Bridget Pethke, 5'5" senior. In transition, going the other way. Blattner had her shot blocked. It's out of bounds. It will stay with the first place Cardinals on this end of the floor. Still no score with 8:40 left in the first quarter. So, wildcatsbooth@gmail.com is the email address. I saw we already had one come in, but the topic of conversation for tonight, we always want to know who it is you're rooting for, but we had an interesting debate downstairs before the game, and that's an up and down violation. Sam Jones, the junior out of White Bear Lake, Minnesota, the northeastern suburbs of St. Paul, turns it over, and we're 90 seconds in, still no score. So here's the debate that I want to hear, wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. We'll let Glenn weigh in on this. If you watch our volleyball broadcast, you know Corey Phelps is the head volleyball coach. He asked me if I had bought a Powerball ticket for the big drawing tonight. Supposedly it's a lot. What is it, $400 million or something? $450 million now I'm hearing as Clark's shot goes long. She got her own rebound. Back up top, Jennings for Meg Clark. Her shot is short. She thought she was fouled. The official said it was blocked. Either way, it results in Wildcat ball. So, Corey Phelps is the head volleyball coach here. Still no score 2 minutes in this basketball game. And we were debating. He said, boy, did you buy a Powerball ticket? How'd you like to win $450 million? To which I responded, I would like nothing less than winning $450 million, Glenn, our engineer. What would you do with $450 million? So I told him I'd much rather win $100,000. A cool $100,000. There's nothing wrong with $100,000 in your checking account. And I said I'd rather have that than $450 million. He looked at me like I was crazy. Brandy Blattner underneath the basket cracks the ice on this one. The freshman has the first 2 points of the ball game. St. Mary's up 2-0. So that's what I want to know. As the fans write in, would you rather win $450 million or a cool $100,000? Let me know, and we'll get you on air. Clark drives. Back up top, Audra. Jennings lines up a 12-footer. That's short. The Wildcats are off to a slow shooting start here tonight on this cold St. Paul night. Wildcats are now 0 for 5 shooting. St. Mary's not much better. They're just 1 for 3. Shot contested well by Jennings as Jones missed it long. Jennings chases down the rebound. And we're going the other way. Lee down low. One dribble up with it. Rattles around off of the window and in. Mari Lee scores the first 2 points of the evening for the Wildcats. We're tied at 2-2. Jones down low. Got past Lee. Missed the shot. Lee might have gotten a piece of it. And we're going the other way off of the rebound by the Wildcats. So $100,000 if you could win that, or $450 million. It might seem like a ludicrous question as Lee rattles a three in and out. Offensive rebound Jennings. Put back no good. Rebound Pethke. And she wiped out Clark and left her in her dust. We're going the other way with it. Pethke into the lane. Her pass deflected. And Clark came up with it. Wildcats ball. Long pass ahead. Meg Clark goes right at Meredith and scores in transition. The Wildcats lead at 4-2. Big night for both of the Clarks with no Lachey Holt. She's inactive tonight. They're going to have to pick up some of that scoring slack. First wave of substitutions of the evening. Mackenzie Summers comes in and Haley Traum as well, as the Cardinals called Jones and Pethke back to the bench. So, Glenn, 100,000 or 450 million? Glenn is on record as going with the $450 million. That's just way too much money for someone like you to even know what to do with. Christensen is in for the first time for the Wildcats. Clark lines up a three and knocked it down. Good start for Meg Clark. She has all five out of the 7 Wildcat points. Clark's having a good season shooting the basketball, just 29% from 3, but 45% from the floor. 5-point lead for St. Kate's going up against the conference undefeated Cardinals. The shot by Schaefer misses well high, and the rebound by Summers is thrown right into the hands of Audra Clark. She'll push the pace the other way. A question tonight for St. Kate's is depth. Jennings is battling an injury. Lachey Holt is inactive. There's not much bench for head coach Sean Pinkerton to spare. It's a storyline to watch. I don't think there's any question about that. Sean told me I probably got 7 or 8 tonight. Players, that is. Into the post. Traum goes up and lays it in off of the window. Haley Traum, senior out of Hampton, Minnesota, has played now in all 12 games this season for St. Mary's. They've all been off of the bench. 7-4. And that pass got picked off. It's stolen away by Brandy Blattner. The steal going the other way with it. And up and in. Blattner, the steal and score. She's got 4 points. The Wildcat lead that was as many as 5 has been reduced to just 1. 7-6. Clark for Christensen, who I thought played well, especially defensively in the win over St. Thomas before the holidays. Lee in the corner. Horsch got wiped out, no whistle. Clark drives through the defense, got all the way to the basket and laid it in. That's Meg Clark again. Boy, she's averaging 8 points a game. She's got 7 in the first 6 minutes of this game. Now Audra Clark pokes it out of the hands of Schaefer. Wildcats steal it away again. Atrocious offensive start for St. Mary's, who's had a good season scoring, averaging 73 points per game. Meg Clark drives baseline and got fouled. They're going to call it on the floor against Trami. Now they're going with Traum downstairs. Pardon me. Haley Traum called for her first foul. 9-6 the score. Wildcats booth at gmail.com. Danette Jennings writing in. Hasn't been able to watch for a while, but back from Jackson, Mississippi. Kennedy's #1 fan. Go Cats! Thanks, Danette, for writing in, and welcome back to the broadcast. A lot of the same old tricks here between me and Glenn. We really are kind of what you might call a one-trick pony here. But a lovable one, still the same. Foul against the Wildcats belongs to Shauna Horsch. That's her first, and it puts the Cardinals on the free throw line. Brandy Blattner will go there already with 4 points on the evening. Knocks down her first. She's got 5. Blattner, 9 rebounds per game, is second best in the conference, only to Lachey Holt. And shoots 84% from the line. That's the best in the conference, although this time I put Blattner only shoots 66%, so she goes 1 of 2. 84% is Meredith. That's best in the conference. We'll see if we can't put the broadcaster jinx on her later in the broadcast. Clark posts up. Help defense comes. Kicks outside. Christensen lines up a long 2. That's off of the side of the iron. Battle for the board, and it was last touched. It rolls out of bounds. It was last touched by Audra Clark as she got tangled up with Brandy Blattner. So, continuing this Powerball theme, $450 million is the jackpot tonight as the Cardinals turn it over yet again. Boy, they have had a bad start offensively. They have now turned it over 7 times, and they've made 3 buckets. They have 4 more turnovers than made buckets through the first 7 minutes of the first quarter. A lethargic start for the first place Cardinals. Horsch drives, right hand, shot was blocked. Mackenzie Summers got her hand in there. Huseman in transition, into the corner, 3 for Traum, no good. Weak side rebound, Blattner. Horsch got a hand in there, now a foot. Jennings pokes a hand in there. 4 players in there. Again coming up with it was Blattner. She got it away, but right into the hands of Kennedy Jennings. There had to be a foul or a jump ball or something amongst that rugby pile in the far corner, but still no whistles. A tip ball goes out for Horsch. She leans in on a layup and got fouled. Shauna Horsch will go to the free throw line to shoot two. It's just the second foul against the Cardinals through just under 8 minutes of basketball, and the foul is going to be called against Mackenzie Summers, freshman, Arlington, Minnesota, is called for her first. Horsch knocks down her first free throw. Good free throw shooter is the senior out of Inver Grove Heights, 71% on the season. The Wildcats are in double digits and hold a 10-7 lead. And Horsch goes 2 for 2, 4-point lead for the Cats. So, long story long, Corey Phelps, our volleyball coach, he would rather win the $450 million as well. So you have company. Why? He's a smart guy. So I'll fill in the blanks for our listening audience. Our engineer, Glenn Thompson, the affable fellow that he is, 3 is an air ball for the Cardinals. They're having a really awful game offensively. Rebound, Meg Clark. Glenn's theory is it's too easy to piddle away $100,000, fritter away $100,000, and have nothing to show for it. Whereas it would be nearly impossible to ever spend $450 million unless you decided to start your own space program or something like that. I don't know. You could retire. Yeah, I bet you could on $450 million with your exorbitant lifestyle. You can buy a lot of flannel shirts with $450 million, dude. Jennings down low and an offensive foul. Now a travel is called against Jennings. Minute 41 left here in the first quarter. We're having some fun here. Beautiful night in this neighborhood in St. Paul. It is snowing. 3-line drive is short. Jennings the rebound, and she got bumped from behind. A foul is going to be called against Sam Jones. That's her second. For St. Mary right now, they're just 3 of 10, and Blattner has 2 of those. So anybody not named Blattner is just, 1 for 6. Blattner has 5 of St. Mary's 7 first quarter points. Two teams have combined to shoot 7 for 26. And that was a big, wild miss, too. This has not been, offensively at least, a crisp showing in the first quarter. Schaefer turned away by Garcia, who's in for the first time. Down low, Jones goes right around Lee and scores it with the right hand. Sam Jones scores for the first time, 6'1", White Bear Lake. And it's 11-9 now, the lead for the Wildcats. Their lead is trimmed to 2. Garcia for Jennings. Into the corner. Clark lines up a 3. It rattles in and out. Audra Clark, the rebound, spins and scores with the left hand and gets a high five from Meg Clark on her way back up the floor. So Clark misses, Clark rebounds, and Clark scores. And going down to this side of the floor, a foul. That's going to be called against Kennedy, the junior out of Grimes, Iowa, called for her first. And holding on to a 4-point lead, the Wildcats send the Cardinals to the free throw line. Haley Trom. First shot draws a lot of iron, but finds its way in. 3 points now for Trom. And Huseman will head back to the bench. Second shot is good for Trom. She's got 4. She goes 2 of 2. Huseman, a 3-point specialist, did try 1. It was short. And with 25 seconds on the game and shot clocks, the Wildcats will dribble this thing out. And barring a turnover, will take a lead into the second quarter against the first place Cardinals. 10 seconds to work with now. Jennings, one-on-one, bowled over Meredith, no whistle. Shot was short. Jennings got a rebound back. Putback was blocked. Cardinals come up with it. 2 seconds left. Heave on the way. Pepke, and it's off of the glass. And that's your buzzer for the end of the first quarter. Let's break it here on TJSportsOnline.net. 13-11, the lead for the Wildcats. We want emails. Cardinals fans, Wildcats fans, would you rather win the Powerball, $450 million, or do you adhere to Team Matt Nelson? Would you rather win $100,000, put it in your pocket, and move along? 13-11, Cats take the lead to the second quarter. Bringing back into the Butler Center in a snowy St. Paul Wednesday night. Matt Nelson alongside engineer Glenn Thompson. A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since 1971, Universal Athletic Team. They've been passionate, folks, about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to your local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities. Check them out, Universal Athletic. They've been sponsoring Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971. Unbelievable. Clark, offensive foul. She went bowling right over Bridget Pethke, who got her feet set, and Clark is going to be called for the first foul of this second quarter. Now the officials get back together. And Sean Pinkerton pleading his case, saying she was sliding to her left. And they are going to call a blocking foul against Bridget Pethke. So Sean Pinkerton pleads his case to the officials and this time wins that argument as they do assess the first foul of the second quarter against the Cardinals, trailing 13-11 on the road. And Lee goes right up and she's fouled by Jones. That's going to be the third foul against Sam Jones. The Cardinals are going to have to go a little bit deeper and quicker into their bench for post players than they might have liked. Brett Polari is their new head coach. First shot is good for Mari Lee. Good free throw shooter at 75%. Second free throw as well, nothing but the bottom of the net. 4 points for Lee, and that is the lead for the Wildcats with 9:30 left in the second quarter. Pethke for Jones, now into the corner, driving. Blattner got by Jennings, threw her arm up but couldn't block the layup as Brandy Blattner again continues to tote the freight for the Cardinals. She has 7 of their 13 points. They trail it by 2. Jennings for Garcia, now Lee takes a look. Audra Clark to the free throw line, spins it into her left hand, goes underneath, found a wide open Meg Clark who scored. Boy, you could see Jones really backing off of Meg Clark, who's got 9 points, knowing that she had those 3 fouls. But a good bit of passing there by Audra Clark. Oh, and a nifty pass that time as Meredith goes down low for Blattner, who has 9. Now the scoring coming much more frequently than it did early in tonight's ball game. 3 is long, rebound Meredith. Blattner the other way, tried to get it down low and couldn't find Sam Jones. Nice defense as Jennings fronted the pass. Wildcats so far, Horsch is 0 of 2. She did have a couple of points from the free throw line. Lee 1 for 2. She's got 4 points. But Meg Clark 4 of 7, 9 points. Audra 1 for 4. Jennings 0 for 4. And Garcia 0 for 1. Jennings battling through a bad wheel. Down low, Clark into the post. Layup is short. Officials are letting both of these teams play through a triple team. Outside extra pass, Horsch got bumped on her way by. Bridget Pethke gave her a little something as she went by in the pump fake, and Pethke's called for her second foul, the third of the second quarter against the Cardinals. This Cardinals season, 10-1. The lone loss came on December 19th at Wisconsin-Stevens Point. They got blown out. The offense kind of abandoned them as Stevens Point won that one 68-44. Their best win at home against Gustavus. 82-74 was the final there. They shot 53% from the floor. Pass into the corner. Clark came up with it. 3 was long. Weak side rebound. Horsch To the basket she goes. Past Summers, and she traveled it. Horsch traveled. Slow offensive start for Horsch. 0 of 2 in that time. Amidst the turnover, neither team has been judicious in their handling of the ball. St. Kate's better, though, than the Cardinals up until this point. 9 turnovers to 4. Oh, nifty moves as Traum pulled it up from about a dozen feet out and knocked it down. Defensive letdown for the Wildcats, and the Cardinals have tied it at 17-17. Horsch, top of the key. Jennings now right side on the wing. Clark drives, kicks. Horsch 3 and an offensive foul before that. The 3 ended up going down. No bucket, as on the drive it was Meg Clark called for the offensive foul. The 5'6" junior out of Kenyon, Minnesota, is called for the foul. It was her first. It's a big offensive focus if you watch St. Kate's. They like to force teams to help, draw them into the paint, and then kick for open threes and hope for the best. Down low, Michaela Meredith is on the board. Meredith, for more than 14 points per game this season, scores for the first time, and the Cardinals take the lead. Clark drives, shoots early in the shot clock, and misses long off of the back iron. Cardinals looking to build on their 2-point lead as they've surged here in the second quarter. Traum, free throw line floater is off, but she got her own rebound. Oh, Jennings came up and blocked the putback. Wildcats have it going the other way with numbers. 3-on-2. Clark, Horsch, wide open 3. That's long. Rebound, Audra Clark. She'll pedal it back to the 3-point line. Second chance for the Wildcats. Up top, Jennings. Lee, open 3. That's long. And rebound to the Cardinals and Blattner. The Wildcats are now 1 of 11 on their 3-pointers. St. Mary's 0 of 5. That's a combined 1 for 16 for these two teams. Inside, Meredith has 4. And Sean Pinkerton's going to take a timeout. I don't think he's pleased with the defensive effort on these past couple possessions. For the Cardinals, 21-17 the lead, as the Cardinals, who trailed by 2 at the start of the second quarter, have recaptured the lead 21-17. We'll break it. Wildcat basketball on TJSportsOnline.net. Well, all things considered, when you look at the box score, the Wildcats shooting just 22% on the evening are fortunate to only be down by 4 points. Not pretty 3-point shooting for either team. St. Kate's, as I mentioned, 1 of 11, and St. Mary's 0 of 5. So a combined 1 of 16 for these two teams on the 3-point shot. There's been open looks as well, too. Christensen for Clark. Now Lee has it. Lee on the right wing comes back up top. Meg Clark, 1 dribble just inside of the arc. That rattled in and out, did everything but go down. Battle for the board and a jump ball. Christensen and Somers got tied up. Possession arrow with the Wildcats. They'll keep the basketball here with 5:40 left in the first half. Quick pass comes in. Audra Clark, pump fake. Had a wide open bunny underneath the basket. Couldn't knock it down. Audra's just 1 of 8. And with no Lachey Holt, we're going to need both of the Clarks to really handle the scoring. Pump fake, Schaefer drives, goes down low, 1 dribble. Blattner got tied up, kicked it out for Traum, who knocked down the 8-footer. Haley Traum has had a good offensive first half. She's got 8 points. She's played in all dozen games for St. Mary's off of their bench. 5:07 left in the second quarter. Horsch. Down low, Christensen, and her shot blocked by Blattner. But the Wildcats keep it as the deflection winds up in the waiting hands of Shauna Horsch. Jab step, Clark into the right-hand side corner. That's Audra Clark into the lane. Left-handed pass, Christensen. Lee, now left side wing. Horsch, 3, nothing but the bottom of the net. There we go. Shauna Horsch shoots 32% from 3-point range, and she has the second 3-pointer of the evening for the Wildcats. The other coming from Meg Clark. Couple of dribbles. Meredith will jack one up. That rattled in and out. Battle for the loose ball. Traum touched it last, and just in front of the bleachers, it's picked up. It somehow stayed in bounds by Meg Clark. Wildcats led going into the second quarter. They trail it by 3 here with 4:10 to go. Lee with 10 seconds on the shot clock. Down low, and the pass by Audra Clark got picked off. Blattner the other way, hands it off for Meredith, who walks it in. 6 points for the Cardinals and a timeout taken. Wildcats look fatigued. They only got 7 or so bench players total, and they'll take a timeout trailing it by 5. I think Sean going to be freewheeling with those timeouts tonight. It's 25-20, first place Cardinals on top of the Wildcats at the Butler Center in St. Paul. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball. And Nelson back with you. Transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines, Inc. They're dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website, northfieldlines.com. 25-20, Cardinals on top. Wildcats with the basketball. 13 seconds on their shot clock. Clark, Audra drives right at Traum. Couldn't get past her, and her layup's no good. Audra's now 1 of 10. Going the other way with it. Meredith got it underneath the basket. Got too low. Her shot was short. Rebound by Meg Clark. She'll look to push the pace. Now the Wildcats slow it down. St. Mary's will retreat and play defense. 3:13 to go. Boy, Meg Clark got past her defender and laid it in. A leaner! Meg Clark is really been the Wildcats MVP tonight. She's got 11 of their 22 points. Even by my count, that's half. Traum, 3. Short. Rebound. Weak side. Lee. These girls are going to be tired tonight with just 7 players. Especially both of the Clarks. There's not going to be much time on the bench. Clark to Clark connection, and Audra missed a wide open 3 badly. She's struggling with her shot. Blattner in transition, and she traveled. She got tangled up in the feet of Mari Lee and traveled. The Cardinals are going into their bench. Blattner will take a seat. Huseman in. Jennings as well will check in for Mari Lee. Hey, Wildcat fans, Twin Cities Orthopedics, they offer a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Check them out. They're doctors. They're physicians to the University of St. Catharines, Augsburg, Hamlin, and others. Visit tcomn.com. Horsch, another three-pointer. That's short. Christensen, the rebound and the putback. Nicely done by the freshman, Alexis Christensen, playing in her 8th game of her collegiate career. Makes it a 1-point Cardinal lead. Interior pass. That's rejected by Christensen. Schaefer and Blattner will re-enter as Huseman and Pethke will take a seat. You'd expect for the remainder of the first half. Driving through the defense was Michaela Meredith. Boy, she went walking right through a host of Wildcat jerseys, and she's got 8 points. The lead is 3. The Cats can tie it with a three-pointer. Got into it with a 2. Horsch guarded by Huseman. Christensen top of the key. Audra Clark, left-handed dribble. Now Jennings in the corner, surveys. Couple of dribbles, Christensen again. A win tonight would be a huge upset for the Wildcats. Horsch, extra pass into the corner. 3, Audra Clark knocked it down. What a first half. 14 points for Meg Clark. Meg Clark, an incredible first half. She averages 8 a game. She's got 14 in the first half. Floating pass finds the hands of Blattner. She lost it. It's out of bounds, but last touch by the Wildcats. Cardinals are going to go into their bench. little bit deeper than we've seen or maybe expected. Wintroth will come in, her 9th game. Averages 6 minutes a game when she does play. But Mary Wintroth comes in to play some defense. Ooh, nifty. Blattner caught it, shot it, and made it. 11 points for Blattner. Minute 7 left in the first half. 29-27. Cross-court pass. That's Clark. Stutter step into the post. Had her shot blocked. The Cardinals come up with it. Schaefer's got it. She'll go the other way. Wintroth nearly traveled. Got it back for Schaefer. Wide open three is short. Rebound. Somehow found its way into the hands of Mari Lee. 42 seconds left on the game clock. 25 on the shot clock. John Pinkerton will play it slow. Something in transition could have resulted in a 2-for-1 situation. Instead, the Wildcats will shoot an open three with Horsch off of the left side of the iron. Schaefer the rebound. 24 seconds on the game clock. Shot clock's dead, and the Cardinals can hold it for the last shot if they want it. Brent Polari, their first season head coach, calls out a play to his upperclassman point guard Schaefer. 9 seconds to work with. Schaefer isolated, drives to the free throw line, pulls up, goes down low, found Blattner, who laid it up and in on the baseline. Makes it a 4-point lead, and time runs out on the first half. Blattner and Meg Clark, the two stars offensively for their teams. Blattner had 13 of the 31 points for the Cardinals, who will trot into the locker room leading by 4. Meg Clark had 14 of 27, more than half of the scoring for St. Kate's and the Wildcats. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will take a look at the first half stats, run down some of our sponsors. We'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, check the Wildcats booth at gmail.com inbox, and we'll have the second half. It is the Wildcats and the Cardinals on tjsportsonline.net. Matt Nelson back with you. St. Mary's on top of St. Catherine University. St. Kate's trailing the Cardinals 31-27. Matt Nelson alongside engineer Glenn Thompson. Let's check the out-of-town scoreboard as we do each and every broadcast. Plenty of action in women's basketball going on tonight in the MIAC. They're winding it down, actually. Just 14 seconds left in the second quarter, winding it down towards halftime just up the road here. St. Thomas is home taking on Gustavus, and the Gusties up 29-23. McAllister is on the road taking on St. Ben's. Bethel hosting St. Olaf. Hamlin's at home. The Pipers hosting the Augies. Carleton will square off against Concordia. They'll tip that one off at 7:45 Central Time, so in about 2 minutes or so. The only score we have in on the MIACathletics.com is the Tommies trailing Gustavus 29-23. On the men's side of the ledger, they're in overtime in Moorhead and Concordia. With a minute 15 left, the home team is trailing Carleton in overtime 83-78. That's on the men's side. Augsburg is hosting Hamlin. St. Olaf hosting Bethel. McAllister at home against St. John's, and the Gusties hosting the Tommies as well. There's also at Drake Ice Arena, St. Kate's hockey. They just dropped the puck at 7:30. No score there as the Wildcats host the Hamlin Pipers in MIAC women's hockey. The first half stats in this one, it got started slow offensively, but St. Mary's and St. Mary's University and their Cardinals came on strong in the second quarter, putting up 20 points to take a 31-27 lead into the locker room at the half. Emma Schaefer was 0 for 2. She did not score. Bridget Pepke had no points on 0 of 1 shooting. She did have a couple of rebounds. Meredith 4 of 6 with 8. Blattner 13 points to lead all scores for the Cardinals. 6 of 9 shooting. Sam Jones 1 of 4. Did have 3 fouls as well as a couple of points. Haley Trom 8 points on 3 of 7 shooting. For the Wildcats, they played all 7 available players. Again, Lachey Holt inactive. Shauna Horsch 1 of 6 for 5 points. Did knock down a 3-pointer on 5 tries. Mari Lee 1 for 3. She has 4. Meg Clark 6 of 11 shooting and has 14 points. Audra Clark, not her best half as a Wildcat. 1 of 11 shooting, 0 of 2 on her 3-pointers. Did have 5 rebounds, but only the 2 points. Kennedy Jennings didn't score, but hauled in 7 rebounds. That's huge. Alexis Christensen 1 of 3 for 2 points, and Garcia 0 of 1 from the floor. It was a 3-pointer, and she did not score. Let's step aside. Again, it's halftime at the Butler Center. You're listening to Wildcat Athletics. Reminder, folks, to check out all the sponsors of St. Kate Athletics and to put your trust in Dolan Printing. They want to keep your printing job within your budget, and that's why they make sure they have access to accurate pricing quotes. Dolan Printing offers cost transparency so you can feel comfortable knowing our premier services are affordable. Visit them at their website, www.dolanprinting.com. We'll hear more from the sponsors. We'll have the second half. Cardinals clinging to a 4-point lead. If the Wildcats are going to pull their second straight upset in the MIAC, they'll have to do it in come from behind fashion. Third quarter action from St. Paul is next.
For the Wildcats, Alexis Christensen at 2 points. Audra Clark at 2. Mari Lee at 4. Shauna Horsch at 5. And Meg Clark led all scorers with 14 points.
Hey, folks, before we get to the second half, let's hear from Shauna Horst. She was on the St. Kate's Wildcat Athletics YouTube page and her Tuesday's Take. I know it's Wednesday, but Tuesday's Take. Let's hear from Shauna.
Because there is such emphasis on the student part of being an athlete. All of my teachers are really supportive of athletics, and all of my coaches and the athletic department is really supportive about doing well in academics and supporting each other. So I'm an economics student, and the whole semester I've been doing an independent economic research study on the effects that athletic participation has on women's future incomes and their job placements. I thought it was really something really interesting because it was so applicable to me and my college situation, and I'd like to see that playing athletics does give us an advantage in the work field, and as women in competitive fields, like sometimes an advantage over men and that kind of thing too. So I transferred to St. Kate's at second semester of my freshman year, and I transferred into a team that was struggling to compete in most games, and it was kind of empowering and humbling to be on a team that worked hard every single day. We would still have 2 practices a day during J term, and we worked hard every single day knowing that we were going to go into most games and not win. Then my second year, we came back with a really good recruiting class, and playing on a really young team, it was hard. The maturity levels just weren't there. It was hard to pull out wins in games. And then finally my junior year, everyone was a year older, and we had the same team pretty much. And it was nice to finally see all of that hard work start to pay off. And then now as a senior, we've come in and we've pulled off some big games, and I'm excited to see what's ahead for us.
All right, cool. There you go. That's Shauna Horsch, senior on this team out of Inver Grove, Minnesota. She's got 5 points in the first half. Didn't have her best half shooting the basketball, but undoubtedly one of the leaders of this team as a senior. Cardinals hold on to a 4-point lead. We're back to basketball. We welcome you back into the Butler Center on St. Catherine University campus. And we're back to it. MIAC women's basketball. Down low, Jones against Jennings. Jones gives it a heave and scores high off of the window. 4 points tonight for Sam Jones. The lead is 6. Underway in the third quarter. We got to get Audra Clark going, just 1 of 11 in the first half. Meg Clark with her 14 points matches a career high, which she has done twice. Garcia had her shot blocked. Oh, it was blocked and taken away by Michaela Meredith. And those long arms of Meredith. Pefke into the front court, guarded by Garcia. 6-point lead, I should say, for the Cardinals. Another 3-pointer short for Meredith. Rebound, though. Pefke, the guard, is a good rebounder. And her heave, she tried to get it down low to Blattner. It was out of her reach. A turnover for St. Mary's on their second third quarter possession. One thing that was very evident in the first half is these officials are willing to let these two teams play. Boy, we zipped through that thing with hardly a rest or a trip to the free throw line. Personal fouls, there were 9 called in 20 minutes of basketball. So I'm not just making this up, Glenn. I got facts to back that up. Garcia for Clark. Meg drives, and a jump ball is called. Pefke got her hands on the rock and wouldn't let go of it. Possession arrow is the Wildcats, so Garcia will inbound it. Sean deciding to start the second half with Garcia rather than Horsch. Jennings, a screen for Clark. Pick and roll action. Got it to her in the paint. Nearly traveled. Instead, Garcia out of the corner. 3-pointer short. Rebound, strong side, Meredith. Pefke, long pass ahead. She found Schaefer. Driving into the lane and laying it up and in. Boy, nice passing. And Emma Schaefer was able to walk that thing in for a layup. Hard on the baseline. Just under 9 points a game. She's got her first 2 of the night. Schaefer now 1 of 3. Clark, Garcia, Jennings now has it in the corner. Drives, little baby hook with that right hand. Got it to rattle around And then Kennedy is now 1 of 5, and as her first score of the evening, she did haul in 7 rebounds in the first half. Was big. 7 of the Wildcats, 23 rebounds. Three-pointer, Pefke lines it up and knocks it down. Schaefer wants a sub, but she'll have to play defense for at least one possession. Pefke as well, Schaefer and Pefke, 2 really good guards. And both getting off of the schneid here early in the second half, 38-29, 9-point lead for St. Mary's. Clark for Lee, give and go, and Lee got it to the basket and scored. Wiped out Pefke in the process. Mari Lee has 6 points. Three-pointer, Schaefer short. Rebound Lee. Audra Clark goes the other way with it, with a notion to score, puts it up and was fouled. 2 shots upcoming for Audra Clark. And we'll see if they tab this foul on Emma Schaefer. Yes, they will. The junior out of Roseville. Called for her first foul in the first against the Cardinals in the second half. We'll send Audra to the free throw line. Her first shot is good. It's important to get somebody who's struggling shooting the basketball a chance at the free throw line. It gives them a chance to, I know this is going to sound silly, but watch a few go through. You get that scoring touch going. You build up that confidence, and hopefully you can parlay that into more points. 2 for 2 on that trip to the free throw line for Audra. She's got 4. The lead for the Cardinals is cut to 5. Huseman in, guarded by Horsch, who's also making her first appearance off of the bench for the Wildcats. Pass down low, poked away by Lee. It'll stay with the Cardinals. So both teams going into their bench here with 6:50 left in the third quarter. We heard from Horsch at halftime on your Tuesday take. Check out the Wildcats website for more of that. Sam Jones underneath now has 6 points. She really started slow, was in foul trouble, but has made, I believe, her last 3. She's 3 of 6 after starting 0 for 3 and has the 6 points. Meg Clark in the post. Long high arcing pass for Shauna. One dribble now to her right hand. Audra Clark, 5 seconds to work with, drives, got by Jones, layup no good. Audra had it, lost it, and wiped out. Pefke's got numbers going the other way for the Cardinals. Her pass goes ahead. Blattner had it stripped away by Jennings, and it's Cardinals basketball. (40-33) your score. The undefeated, at least in the MIAC, first place Cardinals on top. They've got 22 seconds to work with on their shot clock. After that nice little hustle play by Jennings. Jones one-on-one with Lee. Yeah, we've got no answer right now for Sam Jones down low. She's got 8 points. 6 of the Cardinals' 9 points in the second half have come from Jones. Pass down low by Horsch, got picked off. Pefke with the steal. Pefke pushes the pace with that right knee brace. Boy, she's got a good fastball going across that court to the left side. Now Shauna came out and clobbered her for a foul. The foul against Horsch, her second, is the first against the Wildcats in the third quarter. Well, a couple of players who the Wildcats really depend on to score. Audra, 1 for 12. Shauna, 1 for 6. Add that up, it's 2 of 18. You lob Jennings and 1 for 5 in there. That's a 3 for 23. And if you heard the sound of gears, that wasn't any equipment in the Butler Center. That was just my brain trying to do simple arithmetic. Layups, no good for Huseman. And a rebound for St. Kate's. Clark up top. Meg Clark, open 3, knocked it down, new career high. 17 points for Meg Clark. That was a biggie for St. Kate's. Keeps this thing close, 42-36. Cardinals clinging on to a 2-bucket lead. Just a 6-point advantage. Huseman, couple of dribbles, pick and roll action, tried to get it to Blattner, who lost it, and it was last touched by the freshman wearing red and 23. That means it's St. Kate's ball. Schaefer in, and Pethke will go to the bench along with Huseman. In their replacement, Schaefer and Michaela Meredith. Wildcats got Lee, both of the Clarks, Jennings and Horsch. Offensively, pass down low, Shauna leans in and traveled. Ooh, didn't see the travel. I saw a little bump action from Shauna. Matters not, its result is the same, a turnover, as Christensen will come in to spell Jennings and give her a breather. 4:22 left in the third quarter, still a ball game. 42-36, Cardinals leading. Down low, Blattner through 3 defenders, goes way above, lays it up and in. Blattner with 15 points, 44-36 lead for the Cardinals. Clark, jab step, back up top, Audra with it. Now Christensen surveys, found Lee, Meg in the corner, she's the hot hand, dribble drive, kicks outside, top of the arc, just inside of it. Mari Lee couldn't knock down the long two, and a rebound. Blattner came down with it and was fouled by Christensen. Alexis Christensen whistled for her first. It's the second against St. Kate's in the third quarter. Mackenzie Summers, welcome back to the ball game for the Cardinals. Sam Jones, good offensive third quarter, goes to the bench. Summers guarded by the freshman Christensen. Down low, Schaefer, the guard, posts up, kicks. Trom, open three. Lee slow to close out, and Trom knocks it down. 11 points for Trom, and Sean Pinkerton will take a timeout. He wants to talk things over with the Wildcats, who have fallen behind by 11. 47-36 is the Cardinal lead. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball on TJSportsOnline.net. Welcome me back into the Butler Center in St. Paul. Loeffler Companies, they offer efficiency, flexibility, productivity, speed, and quality support. Sounds like our engineer Glenn Thompson, actually, for all your office technology and service needs. From copiers to printers, managed print services, phone systems, IT solutions, and much, much more. Contact Loeffler to learn more, serving the Twin Cities, St. Cloud, and Northfield areas, as well as western Wisconsin. Mari Lee knocked down a three while we were hearing about Loeffler, so that's nice out of the timeout. 9 points for Lee. And the Wildcats are going to need some of those to keep up with the offensive productivity of the Cardinals. Audra Clark backpedals, marches into a three, knocked it down, a 6-0 run out of the timeout. Audra Clark, a big one. She's got 7 points. And the 11-point deficit has been cut to 6 just that quickly out of the timeout. Now some defense. The goal for the Wildcats, tie this thing and then go from there. A blocked shot. Schaefer rejected by Clark. Now Audra the other way, hot off the heels of that three-pointer. Goes underneath the basket. Dishes. Shauna, extra pass. Mari Lee, oh, would have loved to see her shoot it. She got it again, wide open. Top of the key, knocked it down. There you go, Mari Lee has a dozen. It's a 2-point lead for the Cardinals, and the Wildcats out of their timeout go on a 9-0 run and force a Cardinal timeout. It's 47-45 funny story about the Lee three when we come back. Welcome back into St. Paul. Matt Nelson alongside of our engineer, the man who wears many hats but only one shirt, Glenn Thompson. Matt Nelson back with you. 9-0 run for the Wildcats has them to within 2 of the 4-0 Cardinals in the MIAC. 3-pointers off. Lee tipped the rebound into the hands of Sommers. Schaefer got it for the Cardinals. Now Sommers, a pump fake, goes at Christensen, misses badly, and a rebound by Alexis under the basket. On that last 3-pointer by Lee, as Clark hands it off for Horsch, she passed on a wide-open trade, just like this one. See if she does it again. This one's off. Rebound by Blattner. And Sean just about lost it. He did a little spinneroony out of frustration. He could have gnawed through a rope. He looked so frustrated. But they got it back to Mari, and she knocked down the 3. So in the end, everybody wins. 47-45, the score remains. Sean wants to get Kennedy back in, and he will. Lee back to the bench. Boy, whatever Sean said in the timeout, it worked. The Wildcats were struggling so mightily from 3. They come out of the timeout and knock down 3 of them. Sommers lost her defender and scored. Horsch and Jennings got lost. And Mackenzie Sommers, freshman out of Arlington, Minnesota, is her first 2 points. 4-point lead for the Cardinals. Audra Clark spins it into the lane. She's picked up by a triple team. Lost it. Jump ball means it's Cardinals ball. They've got the arrow. Audra just kind of went spinning and dribbling her way right into trouble on that one. She had some air just inside of the arc, but then dribbled right into 3 red jerseys. These 2 teams playing to a draw here in the third quarter, both with 18 points. Here's a turnover. Jennings stole it away. Jennings going the other way with it, got tripped up and fouled. 2 shots upcoming for Kennedy Jennings. Brent Polari and his bench hollering for a travel. They're not going to get it. The foul is going to be called against Bridget Pethke. Her 3rd foul for the senior out of New London, Wisconsin. And Jennings will shoot a pair. Just 52% on the season, but she knocks her first down. 3 points for Kennedy. Still the 7 rebounds. And once you knock down your first and you're shooting 52% on the season, you're playing with house money, and she knocks her second one down. 4 points for Jennings, 49-47, inside of a minute left. Speaking of money, we didn't get much feedback, Glenn, from the listeners on my Powerball proposition. Would you rather win $100,000, that's Team Nelson, or $450 million, that's Team Thompson? Jennings called for the foul as Blattner went by her, and Blattner will go to the line to shoot 2. Again, if you're joining us late, you missed a great basketball game, but there's still plenty to catch. But my whole contention, is that what you'd call it, or my idea here is I would much rather win a cool $100,000. Blattner missed her first free throw. She shoots 66% on the season. I would much rather win $100,000, put it in my pocket, and, keep on keeping on with a smile on my face than win $450 million. It's hard for me to envision a scenario, Glenn, where $450 million doesn't ruin your life. I know that sounds crazy. Horsch, 3 in transition, knocked it down. Shauna Horsch ties us at 50, going the other way. 8 points for Shauna. And we're all tied up with 25 seconds left in the third quarter. That many as well left on the shot clock. You keep your, you know what? I picked a new scenario. Glenn, you win $450 million, and you give me $100,000. Deal. Boy, that was easy to talk you into. Schaefer breaking it down. 5 seconds. Left-handed layup, well short. Jennings had it. Jones got it back and walked it right out of bounds. Less than a second left on the game clock. As soon as this one's touched, you'll hear a horn, and we'll go to the fourth quarter with a tie score. And there it is. St. Kate's at 2-2, 7-3 overall. They are pushing St. Mary's to the brink. We're tied 50 all as we go to the fourth quarter. 10 minutes to go from snowy St. Paul. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball. Well, folks, if you're in the Twin Cities for a Wildcats game, whether you're shopping, sports, a Wildcats game, maybe to borrow a little money from Powerball jackpot winner Glenn Thompson, or just looking for that weekend getaway, why not stay at the Best Western Plus Bloomington Hotel? They're just across Killebrew Drive from the Mall of America. They're professional staff. They specialize in true hospitality, gorgeous decor throughout, and the best in-house dining at the Red Rosa Italian Grill. If you're hungry, cover your ears, Glenn. Visit www.bestwesternbloomington.com for details. And ask for Glenn's table the next time you're at the Red Rosa. They'll be sure to give you the spot out back next to the waste management dumpster or next to the men's restroom. Schaefer in transition. She got tied up, and it's going to be a foul against St. Mary's. That's going to belong to Emma Schaefer, her second. How about this, though? A tie game. St. Mary's all alone on top of the MIAC with that 4-0 record. Looking up at them is a gang of vultures, though, all at 3-1. Concordia, Gustavus, St. Olaf, and St. Thomas all in second place. Oh, a turnover in the backcourt. Traum came up with it, and she's got a baker's dozen. The Cardinals back on top 52-50. Now this shot blocked. The Cardinals come up with it. They'll go the other way. Pass down low to Jones. Jennings picked it off and got it to Christensen. Boy, Kennedy Jennings has played a whale of a game if she indeed has a bad wheel. She has been very good. Hustle plays, and that's crucial against a team like St. Mary's. They're one of those teams, they've got depth and really good players. That's an offensive foul against Meg Clark. She's had the hot hand offensively. This time, though, she commits the offensive foul. It's a turnover for the Wildcats and their second foul of this fourth quarter. But they are a team that wins on depth and effort. They don't necessarily have the top line, super duper elite players. They win on depth and effort, and the Wildcats have been able to match that effort with just their 7 players here, trailing just by 2. Schaefer floats it down low. Nice pass, but the bucket by Meredith, no good. Rebound Wildcats. Meg Clark in transition, already with 17 points. Kicks Audra, wide open 3 is long. Jennings, her 8th rebound. Back up top again for Audra. This time she'll drive it. Throw her left hand out to buy herself a little space. Horsch back up top. Meg Clark, pump fake. Left hand side elbow. Still 20 seconds to work with after the Clark miss. Lee in the corner. Jennings drives left hand. Means business. Goes to the basket. Shot's no good, but she was fouled on her way there. Jennings will shoot 2 as she left Meredith in a heap underneath the basket. Ren Polari said, talk to me. Why was that not a charge? He'll get his explanation, and in the meantime, Jennings will shoot 2, and she's 3 for 3 from the free throw line. Very good for a 52% free throw shooter. Next one could tie it, and does. Jennings has 6. 52-52 with 8 minutes to go. And if you saw wins on the home schedule over St. Thomas and maybe St. Mary's, Well, I tip my hat to you. But that would be a tremendous accomplishment. What a way to start 2016 at home. Little layup is good. Michaela Meredith has 10 points and joins Blattner in double digits for the Cardinals. 54-52 lead, 7:40 to go in what has been an entertaining basketball game to watch. My hat's off to these officials. They have really swallowed the whistles, let these two teams play, and it's just so much more fun to watch as they go back and forth. Clark kicks, Lee, three. Got it! Mari Lee, 15 points for Mari Lee. My goodness, getting those extra shots with Lachey Holt's absence and making the most of it. Extra pass, Trom, three. That's long, and it went off at the top of the backboard. It's out of bounds. And the Wildcats leading at 55-54. Get the ball back with 7:11 left in the ball game. Some context. Mari Lee has made 2 3-pointers, 2 of 5. She's 4 of 8 shooting on the ball game. On the season, she had only attempted 8 3-pointers. And if you're counting, she had made 4 of those. So she's got half of her season output up until this point. Meg Clark into the lane. Again, Lee. Why not another one? Leaner is short. Rebound, Audra Clark. Putback is up and in, and one. Pethke called for her 4th foul. The Wildcats lead it by 3. And if Audra Clark can complete the 3-point play, it'll be a 4-point lead. Biggest lead for St. Mary's was 11. It was with 3:35 left in the third quarter. Sean Pinkerton called a timeout, and the Wildcats proceeded to make their next 3 3-pointers. A 9-0 run, and they really haven't looked back since. 57-54. This one can make it a 4-point lead, and Audra does it. Audra Clark now with 12 points on 4 of 17 shooting. Pump fake, handoff, Meredith, couple of dribbles, 10-footer, in and out, rebound. Christensen, was she out-battled Blattner for it. Right underneath the basket. Good work by the freshman. Audra Clark will set up the offense. 6:26 left in the fourth quarter. Christensen. And a foul called away from the basketball. It's going to be against the Cardinals as Clark wound up on her backside. And it's going to be against Sommers. Her second foul, freshman out of Arlington. Third foul against the Cardinals. Keep your eyes on that. 2 against the Wildcats with 6:20 left. Lee leads it and scores. Mari Lee on the layup has 17 points. By my count, they've got her for 14 on the stats. So we're going to go with that. 14 for Mari Lee. Baseline drive for the Cardinals. That's long. Rebound by St. Kate's. Meg Clark got bumped from behind. No call. Wildcats will slow it up and play it out. Clark drives. Had it poked away. And they're going to call a timeout for Sean Pinkerton. That is... that's a gift timeout. As Clark went into the lane, she lost the basketball, got bumped from behind, hit the ground. The ball went rolling away from her, and before you know it, Sean Pinkerton was handed a timeout. Thank you very much to our officials for that one. Timeout. Wildcats lead it by 6. Welcome back in. 60-54 lead for St. Kate's and the Wildcats. Cone US. They provide industry-leading elevators, escalators, auto walks, and innovative solutions for sustainable maintenance and modernization. Call their customer care center, 877-276-8691 to find their nearest office. Again, thank you to Cone for your support of Wildcat Athletics. Leading by 6 right here with 11 seconds left on their shot clock after the Sean Pinkerton timeout. Horsch wiggled wide open and scored. She was screened free on a screen by Meg Clark, and Shauna Horsch buried it. She's got 11 points. No Lachey Holt tonight, but 4 Wildcats in double digit scoring. Lee, Horsch, and both of the Clarks. 63-54. Driving into the lane, the layup is long for Traum, and battling for the rebounds. She was fouled. Not going to be on the shot, I don't believe. It's a foul against Christensen. You know what? I don't mind that, though. I like to see the freshman being aggressive. And it'll be Cardinals ball with a fresh shot clock, triggered in by Schaefer to the right of her basket. 4-0 in the conference are the Cardinals, and Blattner is fouled from behind by Lee underneath the basket. A couple of quick fouls against the Wildcats. This one, their fourth. The first against Mari Lee. Next foul will be double bonus for St. Mary's, or bonus as they call it now, with the women's game getting rid of single and double bonus. But every foul after the next will be 2 shots. First shot was good for Blattner. And now a 7-point lead for the Wildcats as Blattner goes 2 of 2. 5 minutes left in the ball game. 63-56. Meg Clark thought about a long three, thought better of it. Audra for Mari Lee, who's connected on a couple of three-pointers tonight. Horsch for Clark. Pump fake, got it to Christensen. Into the corner, Meg Clark, three. That's long. Shauna, weak side rebound. Went through 2 defenders and scored and got fouled. The layup is good for Horsch and one. The foul against Michaela Meredith sends Horsch to the free throw line, where she can complete this 3-point play and make it a 10-point Wildcat lead. Couldn't do it, though, as Horsch comes up empty-handed from the free throw line. 13 points, though, tonight for Shauna. 65-56, 4:37 to go. Down low for Schaefer. Had it poked away from behind and stolen away. It's Wildcat basketball going the other way. Audra Clark drives. Left-handed layup is long. Jones the rebound for the Cardinals. They got to move with 4:25 left. Can the Wildcats put a hammer lock on this 9-point lead? Down low, Blattner's been good all day long, and she lays it up and in and got fouled by Horsch. Doggone it, Blattner has been as good as gold. She's got 20 points and got Horsch to foul her. And worth noting, that's the 5th foul against St. Kate's. Blattner with 20 on 8 of 13 shooting. Most of that scoring is going on underneath the basket. She's 4 of 6 from the free throw line tonight. And she's got 21 points. Son of a gun, that makes it interesting for Wildcat fans. 65-59, 6-point lead. With still plenty of basketball to go, 4:12 left. And being hand-checked the whole way up the floor, it is Audra Clark fouled by Schaefer. The 5th foul against St. Mary's. The 3rd against Schaefer means 2 free throws for Audra Clark. First shot is good by Clark. And entertainingly, this is maybe the first game in Sean Pinkerton's tenure at St. Kate's where he's been the quiet one. Clark goes 2 for 2. He's got 4 shots. I've heard plenty of Brent Polari in my right ear all night long. Normally it's Sean I'm hearing out of my left ear. Traum in transition has 15 points at 67-61. I'm not used to hearing the other bench giving it to the officials. That's supposed to be Sean's bit. And the code is still on with 3:40 to go in the ball game. We must be leading. Yep, 67-61. Clark lost it momentarily. Now got it back. Went to Jennings on the pick and roll. She lost it. Pethke got it. Dribbles it from her knees. Horsch pressures the ball. Now will retreat and play defense. Turnover for the Wildcats. Pethke got by Horsch. Now to Clark. Somehow found Blattner underneath the basket. She laid it up and in. The lead is 4. 23 points for Brandy Blattner. And it's Cardinals ball. Schaefer deflected it off of Audra Clark in the backcourt and forces a turnover with 3:14 to go. Biggest lead for St. Kate's was 9 with 5:33 left in the ballgame, so 2 minutes and 15 seconds ago in game clock time. Biggest lead for St. Mary's 11. That was with 3:35 to go in the second half. Both teams have led by as many as 9 in the second half. And here we are, close game, and a foul against Horsch. Her 4th foul. We cannot afford to lose Shauna with only having 7 eligible players. First shot for Blattner. Boy, she's feeling it. Is good. She's got 24 points. It's now a 3-point lead. And Blattner goes 2 of 2. She's got 25 points. It's 67-65. Good MIAC contest here in the Butler Center. Clark got fouled. She picked up her dribble, and nope, they're going to call a kicked ball against Meredith. (67-65). Wildcats with the basketball. I like Brent Polari. Fun, entertaining guy to listen to over there. Reminds me a bit of Sean. 2:51 left. Wildcats clinging on by their fingernails to this narrow lead, by their claws. Horsch, corner 3 with the shot clock winding down, is an air ball. Wildcats are reeling. Meredith has it. Long run for the Cardinals. They can take the lead with a 2, and Kennedy, they're going to call a kick ball. And now Sean's going to get his 2 cents in with the officials. Blattner with 25, Traum with 15, and Meredith with 10, leading the way offensively for the Cardinals. 2:30 to go. Schaefer around the screen. Up top, Meredith traveled off of the pump fake. Good defense by Lee, forces the travel by Meredith. And the Wildcats will get the ball. We need a score here as we've got a timeout on the floor. We'll do the same. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball on TJSportsOnline.net. Well, a 7-2 run by the Cardinals has this thing close again, 67-65. The Wildcats led it by many as 9 with 5:33 left before Blattner got hot for the Cardinals and made it close again, 67-65, 2:27 left. Clark into the front court, guarded by Haley Traum. Both teams in the bonus. Any foul will result in 2 free throws, shooting or not. Jennings, left-handed dribble, goes right at Blattner, picks it up into the corner. Audra Clark around a screen by Jennings, into the corner, dribbles around into the post. Her layup no good. Rebound by the Cardinals. Wildcats need to play defense. Pethke going the other way. Found Traum, who somehow came up with it. She kicked Schaefer. 3 short. Rebound. Blattner up with it, and we got a tie ball game. 67-67. Blattner has 27 points, and we're inside at 2 minutes to go from St. Paul. Clark spins. Schaefer walks out to defend her. Hands it off for her twin sister Meg. Now Shauna. Mari Lee. The Wildcats have gone cold offensively. Late in this 4th quarter. Jennings hands it off. Here comes Meg Clark. Left-handed scoop layup. No good. Rebound. Weak side Michaela Meredith. Cardinals ball. 1:24 to go. Here comes Pethke slicing through the defense, getting all the way to the basket and scoring it. Bridget Pethke hasn't had her best day offensively, but she scored there when it mattered to give her team the lead, and Sean Pinkerton's team now trails it by 2. Clark from just beyond the free throw line. Shots no good. Rebound Pethke. Sean Pinkerton didn't like that shot much. Pethke the rebound. 1 minute to go. Wildcats need defense. Horsch. Now Schaefer guarded by Clark. And the Cardinals want a timeout. They'll get it. Brent Polari will talk offense with his team. Sean Pinkerton defense. 69-67 your score. The Cardinals lead it. Wildcats led by 9 with 5 minutes to go. Cardinals have gone on a 13-2 run by my arithmetic to lead this thing 69-67. The Wildcats playing with only 7 tonight send their team back out onto the floor. St. Mary's all alone in first place. The Wildcats have already beaten St. Thomas this year. A win over St. Mary's would be huge, but right now they need a stop. 20 seconds on the shot clock, 56 on the game clock. Came in wide open. Blattner, her shot might have been blocked. It comes down, and it was tapped out of bounds by Clark. It'll be Cardinals ball. Fresh shot clock to work with, though, for St. Mary's. 51 seconds left in the game. They can milk 30 of it on their shot clock, leading just by 2. Ball comes in. Meredith has it. Triggered in by Pefke, who has it now. Guarded by Meg Clark, who's been the hero offensively for the Wildcats, 17 points. Pefke. Cardinals in no great hurry. They're milking the clock. 15 seconds on their shot clock. Meredith guarded by Lee. She'll break her down. Drive past her. Picked up by Horsch. Layup no good. Rebound by Clark. Wildcats will have a chance. 27 seconds left. Trailing by 2. Audra Clark dropped and had it stripped away by Pefke. A huge steal. And Clark has no choice but to foul. What a defensive play. The senior guard playing like a senior as she picked the pocket of Clark and was fouled immediately. Pefke with a chance now to build on this lead with 21 seconds left in the game. It's a 2-point lead. Huge free throws here. Pefke shoots 75% on the season, but she clanks her first. That's a game-changing miss on that first free throw. She could have put the Cardinals up by 4. Now the best they can get is 3, and they get that. Pefke knocks it down, and the Cardinals lead it by 3. 21 seconds to go. Now, we'll keep you here in St. Paul because there's a couple of ways that St. Kate's can go about this. They can come down and try to shoot the 3 ball to tie it, maybe try to send us into overtime. Another path might be to look for the easiest 2 they can get, foul St. Mary's again, see if you can induce them to miss another free throw, then you're really in business. I think they'll probably look for the fastest, best look that they can get, whether it's a 3 or a 2 won't really matter. But we have seen they've been able to collapse defenses in the middle of the floor and dish out to wide open 3-point shooters. The 3-point shooting, St. Kate's has shot 29 of them, and they've made 10 of them. 10 of 29 for 34%. St. Mary's has been horrendous tonight shooting the 3-pointer, 2 of 16. That's 12%. That being said, they've been good inside of the arc, shooting 29 of 63 from the floor, 46%. Wildcats 33% on the night. One area that the Cardinals have been really good tonight, quietly, is free throws. 13 of 14, 92% on the night. So the Wildcats can advance the ball. They do that. That's one of the new rules in women's basketball. Whether they look for a quick 2 or the 3, let's see. Horsch for Clark. She will drive it. Inside, back outside, Horsch. Nearly lost it. She hands it off for Clark. It looks like it's going to have to be a 3. 10 seconds to go now. Shauna, 2 dribbles with the right hand. Picks it up. Got it to Clark. Extra pass. Kennedy will line up with a 3. An unlikely 3-point shooter. Misses long. Pefke the rebound. She's fouled from behind. And the final buzzer sounds. They might put a second back on this and send Pefke down to the free throw line. Either way, the result is going to be the same. A Cardinals victory. Foul Jennings. And Pefke will shoot a couple of free throws. But before that, Sean can call a timeout. There's still scenarios whereby I guess the Wildcats could advance the ball off of a timeout if Pefke missed both free throws. And I think that's why the officials put that time back on the clock. You've got a 1-possession game. Jennings took the 3-point shot, was open for it. Boy, it would have been a big one. It would have sent us to overtime. Jennings on the season, as she pulled the trigger, I called her an unlikely hero from 3, and the reason I said that, she's 0 of 4 on the season on her 3-point shots. Doesn't shoot many of them. So Pefke can put this thing on ice. 1 of 2 wins the game. Boy, leading by 9 with 5 minutes and 33 seconds left in the game. And boy, it's so quiet in here. Pethke misses the first one. Nothing's easy in this conference. Gives a look over to her bench. Now again, the Wildcats can call a timeout if she misses the second one. She can put it on ice with her second. And did it. Pethke goes 1 for 2, has 7 points. Three-pointer doesn't matter for the Wildcats. And that's your final. Pethke missed the first one, made the second one. And it's a 71-67 win for St. Mary's University. They stay undefeated in the conference and will retain first place, 5-0 in the MIAC and an 11-1 mark overall. The Wildcats fought valiantly, and you wonder with Lachey Holt on the floor if the end result could have been different. Either way, the Clarks, Jennings, Lee, Horsch were all sensational. 7-4 now, though. For the Wildcats, 2-3 in the MIAC. They will join Hamlin, McAllister, Augsburg, and Carleton, all below 500 now in the MIAC conference. Your final stats: St. Kate's shoots 32%, 33% from three. They made 92% of their free throws, 13 of 14. Were out-rebounded 44-36. Only turned it over 13 times. They led by 9 with 5:33 left in the ballgame. Horsch, 4 of 10 shooting for 13 points. Mari Lee had 14 on 5 of 10. Was 2 of 6 on her three-pointers. Meg Clark, 7 of 15, had 17 points, career high. Congratulations. Audra Clark, just 4 of 20 shooting, but did muster up 15 points, 5 of 5 from the free throw line. Jennings, 1 of 6, including a three-pointer that could have sent us to overtime, 6 points, 8 boards. Alexis Christensen scored 2 off of the bench and had 5 rebounds. For St. Mary's University, Emma Schaefer, 2 points on 1 of 8 shooting. Bridget Pethke clinched it with a late free throw, and she had 6 points. Michaela Meredith, 5 of 12. She had 10 points, was 0 of 2 on her three-pointers, and had 6 rebounds. Blattner's your MVP of the game. She plays for the Cardinals, 27 points, 12 boards on 10 of 16 shooting. One of the better nights I've seen in the MIAC in a long time. 27-12 on 10 of 16 shooting is a really good night at the office. Sam Jones was 4 of 7, played most of the night in foul trouble, 8 points and 3 rebounds. Haley Trom had 15 points to go along with a couple of boards. Huseman did not score, had a couple of boards, and Mackenzie Sommers, 2 points on 1 of 2 shooting and had 4 rebounds to go with it. 71-67 is your final score. For the $450 million Powerball man, Glenn Thompson, I am the $100,000 jackpot winner, Matt Nelson. If you bought a ticket, I guess good luck to you, but again, we don't need to go down that path. I don't want anything to do with $450 million. I'm happy enough as is. 71-67 is your final score. We will talk to you again on Saturday here on TJSportsOnline.net. The Wildcats will be home in that one. We'll have it for you here on TJSportsOnline.net. Glenn, who are we playing on Saturday night? Help me out. Oh, you don't know. You're too slow. It's McAllister, Kelly Roislin, and the Scots. That'll be on Saturday, 3 o'clock tip-off. 71-67 your final. We'll talk again on Saturday. Go Cats!